Hello everybody, welcome back to the Contest Round podcast. This is episode 8 and obviously this is going to be a very important one. We're going to be talking about things that have happened this week, the Glory Store being buffed up. We're going to be talking about Nexus Crystals Act 6.4. You name it, we're going to cover it in this particular episode. And if you are listening on YouTube, we do have SoundCloud, Spotify and iTunes, as well as the playlist and other playlists on those particular sites. So go and check them out, have a little bit of a binge listen. That is something that I do recommend. Now, here's the thing. In this particular episode, we also need to address the arena that was put out last week and the scuffness, but I'd like to introduce my always incredibly glamorous co-host, and that is Dan of Frontline MCOC. Hello, my friend.
Hey, Rich, I am here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was to say I shouldn't say that we had to re-record the intro several times because of me messing up and unfortunately your internet going down. But
right.
Problems aside, we're still healthy. So that's one thing.
We're healthy and we're here and we're communicating and looking to talk some MCOC because it's been quite a week. So it's actually nice to kind of take my mind off of everything that's going on in the world and talk a little tappy, swipey with you.
Yeah, because it's like a lot of people need to understand that like everyone's maybe affected by things in different way with this pandemic. Different industries are going to be impacted, and it's like
right.
it's people's livelihoods, and we've talked a little about this, but we're not going to make it the full scheme of the podcast because we want to just get into stuff. So Act 6.4 was released on Wednesday. We saw some incredible fights against the Grandmaster, which looks like a really fun fight. Something that looked quite scary with 10 million health points, and then turned out to be something really fun. Something that's not too difficult as long as you keep your head on a swivel. I know that you and me are kind of in a stage where we're trying to progress to that point, but what do you think from what you saw?
Well, from what I saw, it was really exciting. Certainly, right before it came out and we were seeing those leaks of the 10 million health pool. Well, that's a little bit daunting to say the least. But I think the fight has received pretty much universal praise from everyone that I've seen talking about it. And if you want to contrast to the 6.2 champion fight and now the Grandmaster fight, people are going back into fight the Grandmaster for fun to try to see if they can solo him because they're actually enjoying the fight. So they're willing to do that seemingly without the rewards just for the achievement and the challenge of it. And as a game designer, I've got to think that's your goal at the end of the day. Like, the games are supposed to be fun. You want it to be skill-based. You don't want if you die, you don't want it to feel cheap.
Yeah.
And it feels like, for all the trials and tribulations that have come with Act 6, and there have been a lot. You have to give them credit for capping off the entirety of the story quest on the high note of a widely praised fight. So I'm excited to eventually do the fight.
Yeah, me too. I've just done. We talked about this. I've just done the champion fight for the very first time, and I had to look at myself in the mirror and just go like, look. Look. I mean, that's not the part of playing the game is looking in the mirror and going, "Oh, you sexy beast." But no, the fact is, I've got to look at myself and go, "Look, where's my skill level at that I'm not able to consistently trigger off a dexterity to then get the prowess to build up to the 5 to then be able to do the SP3 to then obviously to just completely obliterate the champion on that 10% health of pain." So it's a case like after doing that fight. I am now feeling all right-ish when it comes to doing 6.3 and now seeing 6.4. So yeah, Kabam made some big mistakes with the classing gates. 6.1 was all right. I think at the time people did it with the roster strength they had. It was a little bit frustrating, especially with the Crossbones fight and a little bit with the Sentinel fight. It's kind of like a movie plot in sense. It starts off all right, it gets worse, gets slightly better, and then ends on a high. And I think that is, and as we've kind of talked about in that moment, it is the just end to this. And like champions wise, there's been Metal Sonic Dude used.
He just used Beardo to solo yesterday.
That is, yeah. And I was watching.
Isn't that incredible?
I know. and then
I mean, you know he can do it. Like he wasn't gonna stop until he got it. But I mean, just the fact that we're talking about a 10 million health point fight with all these different modes and challenges in it, and it's actually possible.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know, that's the thing is like it's not like, oh, you've got to get, you're on a hit counter or you've got the labyrinth evade and you've only got the certain amount of time to get your damage in. Like it's just crazy. Like you just get a fight that appears to be pure skill and go for it.
I think it was a testament to Kabam Miike to have Seaton do it with a 6-star Awakened Cyclops.
Right, but I mean, just the fact that that's even reasonable, right? Like that shows something that's great about that fight, because as we know with the gates and the specificity of some of the counters required along the way to get through things like Crossbones and the Mysterio fight, and certainly the champion and a few others, right? And we see this in other parts of the game too, as far as the rock paper scissors angle of the game getting a little bit out of control. To be able to go in with Cyclops and actually do the fight, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know there's like it's talking about like different options, I think, to do that fight. I kind of wish that I'd been more dedicated to do a lot more of Act 6 last year sometime, but I just didn't feel comfortable with my roster, which I think is that we've kind of like talked about this, the fact of when you actually feel comfortable with your champions to go, look, I've got a Dr. Doom, I've got this champion that can do this, I've got an Omega Red Awakened with a huge amount of signatures on it. All those kind of things, you just go, now everything is coming into place. Where a lot of other people, they may be either more skilled, they would have availability of those champions. But it's certainly nice to know that this is at the end, and obviously we're about to come close to the beginning. And I'm still unsure about how this Act 1, the Union, is going to play into. Is it going to be starting off with 2 stars again? Is it going to be just continuing on with the same vein as Act 6.4 in terms of difficulty? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think when we talked a couple weeks ago, we were hoping for some more answers as far as the storyline, and I think we've gotten some tidbits, but nothing. We haven't gotten the bombshell reveal yet.
No.
So that's. I'm not going to say that's disappointing, but we're still waiting for that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, was the most recent variant a test of that as to can we design content that is restricted to lower star levels but has some of the harder nodes in it? Like, is that the way they're going, or is it just the difficulty's just going to continue on? We don't know.
That's a good point. That's something I didn't consider. Like, the fact is, like, would you scale it differently with Kabam making more champions available at lower starage? Is it a case they go back to basics with delivering something that could be, well, I don't know if you could say that anybody could really do it, right? But still, yeah, I really don't know. Part of me thinks that this will be starting from scratch, which would be kind of nice, but also given an aspect of, is this forcing the player to, at the start point of the game, going, okay, so am I going to do the Elders side of things, the 6 acts, or am I going to start with the other thing, or run 2 at the same time in parallel? That's a big question, I think, Kabam will need to facilitate.
When you talk about a game that's 6 years old, and how do you get the new players on board and caught up while giving the end gamers who are rank 3ing their 6 stars something to do so they're not bored?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what they're grappling with right now.
Yeah, I think personally, you're absolutely right. But if they did go down the route, what would that do to the player base? Or is this something to say, okay, so we're going to launch Marvel Realm of Champions. We need something that is doable, that's not taking quite so much of your time, but also the story continues in Marvel Realm of Champions, and they're kind of like pushing that story narrative. It's a difficult process to appease the end gamers with those rank 3 6 stars, and as well new players, and also those that want to balance the time. And I'll be doing a lot of that, balancing my time between both games. So I won't.
Right.
I don't really know my plan. Have you got a plan of when you want to 100% Act 6, or have you got like a stage plan for this year of when you want to do stuff?
I'm very much in the stage plan. I probably have about 5 lanes left for 6.1.6 to 100% 6.1. So that's the immediate short-term goal, and then I'm going to start picking off in 6.2. I don't have any sort of pressure to make an initial clear or anything like that. Because of the way that Act 6 is set up with the global nodes, I find that I'm playing a lot better if I try to 100% chapter by chapter, instead of like making an initial clear and like dinking and dunking around like whatever lane I feel like if I get my brain tuned into that mode of like, all right, this is I'm playing like the Sabretooth map, like no retreat. Like once you get in the mode of like, all right, I'm comfortable with no retreat, like you just kind of want to do that because your playstyle had to change. So that's kind of how I've been approaching it. It means I'm getting the reward slower, but I feel like I'm playing better. I'm not getting as frustrated, and I'm not burning through the revives as much. So for me, that's fine, and I'm being patient with it. It really depends on what's to come, right? Like, is Cavalier difficulty coming soon? Is Variant 5 coming soon? Much like you, if they throw out a new variant in a couple weeks, I'm gonna try to 100% that.
Yeah, the same with me.
I'd much rather do that.
Yeah, it's like it's less hassle, and it's fun. For me, I know, as I've always said, it's the most fun, and as we've all said, it's the most fun content that Kabam have put in.
Yeah, I like it. They really run with the concept, and we know the next one chronologically would be Blood and Venom, and Guillotine and Venom are two awesome characters that I really enjoy playing those characters. And so if those characters get some sort of a bonus, that'd be cool. Or maybe it's the Spider-Verse characters, or Mercenaries get a boost. I don't know, but every variant gets better. They seem to have refined the concept of what they're trying to do. And they're just a lot of fun, like you said. So it just depends sort of what challenges they put in our way. Like right now, I don't have anything permanent to complete other than Act 6. I'm 100% on all the variants and everything else, and I'm not going to touch Abyss. So I'm just going to chip away at Act 6 until they give me something more exciting to do right now.
Yeah, slightly jumping ahead of what we're like discussing in Chain. I do think that, again, feeling and wanting to do difficult content, which Act 6 has some of the most difficult, complex content out at the moment. The reward at the end of it with that Nexus 6-star crystal, I have seen some. Not atrocious.
Boy.
Well, let's say, okay, it is atrocious.
No, there's an atrocious one. Did you see who was it? It was Ragamuffin Gunner.
Yeah.
So his choices were Awaken, 6-star Juggernaut, Awaken Diablo, or Brand New Moon Knight. I mean, the only response to that is just dude. Like, like what? Like, how? How are you like? How do you not throw your phone? Like, I really try not to let crystal pulls bother me. But when you're talking your best out of 3 option is a new Moon Knight. That's tough, man. That's tough.
I got just about 3 6 stars to open. I'm planning to do 4 by the end of the month. I can't remember. I think it's like the 20-something of March is when the rewards will be done and sent out for Alliance War Seasons. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
so we should have those on the 25th. I'm going to do an opening then too.
yeah, I'm hoping to do 4, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. They were going to be saved for the UK meetup, but obviously that's not going ahead
Right.
with stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking at someone else's. This is Woot Woot, who did Juggernaut, Drax, and the Hood as options to choose. It's just not. It's not going to be something
Yeah.
that they're going to take to any given content. Maybe the Hood has some utility to him, but not significant enough to kind of go, I'm going to take this new champion and just ramp it all up. So
Right.
it is disappointing. But we've got a new villain, a new protagonist for this new act, which is obviously Act 1, the Union, or whatever the act is. Well, I'd say Act Saga, whatever the new saga is going to be called. It's always going to feature on Karina. Now, first of all, I had my thoughts that it could be Griever at the end of all things, and which has some elements of entropy to that character. Right. And also, I know that someone that we do want to get on the podcast at some point is the other MCC Gabe, who
love him.
Yeah, who comes up with Grandmaster Prime, and there's some imagery which has like this kind of like electric mustache coming off, but a very kind of broad-shouldered character, but could be something that looks like Grandmaster Prime. So I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? It's not these staple kind of the enemies that we know from like notoriety.
We are deep down the well right now.
Yeah, and with the way that they did the 5-year anniversary trailer and how the Watcher and Mephisto have some sort of interaction, I did have this kind of theory that Mephisto was kind of playing the Watcher or something, making him think that whatever he's seen or whatever he's alerting to is actually him controlling. The Mephisto is controlling the Watcher for the purpose of an alliance with Galactus, and that's a pretty far out theory. But I really don't know. I don't know what bearing the 5-year trailer has on this and MCOC. What do you think? What do you think's going on?
So I love Mephisto. He's one of my favorite characters in both the comics and in the game to play. So anytime Mephisto is getting some screen time in the motion comics, I'm excited. So, going back to one of the things that really got me into Marvel Comics as a kid was the original Infinity Gauntlet saga. And if you've read that, and if you haven't read that, you need to, because it's pretty life-changing as a comic book fan, and you'd learn a lot about why certain things happened in the movies. But Mephisto plays a huge part in the Infinity Gauntlet. So basically the Infinity Gauntlet story picks up when Thanos he's got all the gems, and he's deciding what he's going to do. And Mephisto is basically his right-hand man. He is talking to Thanos. He's putting ideas in his head about how he can win the love of Lady Death and all these things. But of course, Mephisto is working all the angles and is just waiting for the right moment to turn on Thanos and try to steal the gauntlet for himself. Ooh. And I mean, this is very in character with Mephisto, right? Like he is one of those guys, a lot like Loki, where he's not a direct confrontation guy if he doesn't have to be, right? Like he's going to let someone else do the dirty work and then try to jump in at the last minute and take all the credit, take all the power. So, Mephisto it's totally in character for Mephisto to say, Galactus is coming, I can't take him on, so I'm going to read the writing on the wall and try to ingratiate myself with him with but I'm not going to be a servant forever either. I'm gonna try to make this work out for me, right? Yeah. So that would be in keeping with his character. So, are we gonna get Grandmaster Prime? Are we gonna get the Griever, which is, like you said, a kind of a play on entropy, who we've all been thinking about for the last year?
Yeah.
And then how do those things combine with Karina taking over, with Galactus? showing up. We got some high-powered beings that are going to be coming to blows very shortly, I think.
Yeah, I think as well for a lot of players that are excited for MROC, and I think it fluctuates with stuff because it's very quiet at the moment for Marvel Realm. That's
very quiet.
Yeah, I mean we haven't talked about anything. We haven't seen any gameplay trailer or anything like that. So it's been difficult to kind of go, because that's the thing we decided with the podcast. It would be covering both elements of both games, whether or not we kind of work out a way of kind of giving some lip service half and half to each of them.
Right.
Because they will kind of like interact with one another based on these story arcs, which I think is important that we represent. Now, something that's happened in the last week, actually, probably you're grinding it out now, people out there, and that is the Crystal Trove Arena, as well as the Crystal Splash and Crystal Cornucopia getting their respective buffs to rewards.
Yes.
Dan, did you do it? Did you grind it?
Not because I needed the tier 4 basic and that arena was running at the same time, but I am absolutely going to grind it shortly. After we get off the podcast, that arena is going to be starting. And Sunday for me, honestly, is usually a time when I actually have the free time to grind arena. And up until now, there hasn't really been too much worthwhile to do unless one of those resource arenas, if you need the alpha or you need the T4B, is on. So I'm super excited because I know you've done some coverage on this, and it seems like the milestones are super achievable.
Yeah, I was really actually I was quite surprised that Marvel Contest Champions liked my video on Twitter. I thought, I must have made it a little bit that they liked it. But yeah, I put in 2.5 mil. I did about over the space of 24 hours, including the 6-star issue. That was a bit of a bummer. But, they were quick to recognize that and allow 6 stars to be used. And as well, that they couldn't sort out the multiplier, which did suppress, I think, a lot of performance. I've only got details of the 1 to 10% rewards and not milestones, the rank rewards, which we're kind of looking at about 2.5 it's 2.56 mil or something like that, 2,560,000. But getting that was the 11 to 30. It was something like, it was a lower one. If you want 1 to 10%, it was putting in about 3 mil, but I think it's going to be about 3.5. It's difficult because we didn't know what's going on with the multiplier, and as well the arena bots situation, where arenas are now kind of going with their cutoffs is difficult to predict. So I think we'll get some real ideas in the next 24 hours. But 2,000 5-star shards isn't too bad for just about an hour, 45-minute grind over the space of 2 days. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider what you would have to do time-wise to get that many shards from the 5-star featured arena, like you'd probably need to put in 5 times the effort.
Oh yeah, it's getting now about 1,000 5-star shards. I think it's 1,000 5-star shards is something like 15.5 mil.
Okay, yeah. So you're talking, 5 times the work for half the shards.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time.
Yeah,
over 3 days. I know a lot of people do it, but that's tough.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm just double checking now. No, sorry, I tell a lie. It's the 2,000. So it is
the 2,000.
It's 2,000. Sorry,
okay.
Just check me working. So, but yeah, like it's an amazing time saver, and I hope people do support the arena and get behind it as well. Like lower players, if they're looking for something to do on a Sunday, and like, well, I don't want to do questing. Maybe I want some battle chips to put into my to the coffers of the treasury. Then it could be a good opportunity. But yeah. It's all good. Yeah. I've recently ranked up something, Dan.
It's very nice. You have. We've been talking about that. You have been teasing this for a while. You finally took Warren Worthington III to max, right? 565 Archangel.
I'm impressed with the damage so far. I need to kind of get a real handle of what content I want to take him into. Mainly, I'm future-proofing my grind in different areas. I'm next champion to rank up is probably going to be Corvus Glaive to rank 5. But like myself, like yourself as well, and many other players, you need to think about your future grind. Now, from watching a lot of the beta coverage from Legacy in particular, Archangel is tipped as being a good lane clearer and good path clearer, and the champion is
Nice.
is very low effort for maximum return. The same thing with Domino with the Incinerate synergy, but I think based on a lot of the crazy nodes that you get in Act 6, it is a solid champion to do so many different things. I know that you still thinking about doing yours at rank 5.
Yeah, I've been using mine a lot as I'm starting to clear Act 6.1 and really falling back in love with that champion now that I have a duped 5-star at rank 4. I've got an opening coming in a couple weeks. Unless I pull 2 champions that I would desire more than him to be at rank 5, he's going to be going up at that point. It's just, it's so nice. A champion that minimizes your hit count, can turn off a lot of the BS in the game, and doesn't require a synergy team, right? And that's so important right now because so often it's like, okay, I need to solve this big problem to clear this lane, so I need to I need to bring Corvus, but I need the True Strike, so I need to bring Proxima, or I need the Blade team, or I need my full Ghost team, and then I've got 1 slot left. So that final champion on the quest team, like they just need to be standalone. And Archangel, like some older champions, like Hyperion, kind of like Iceman, where they can just do what you need them to do without any help. It's so valuable.
Yeah, that's so true. I think preparation is always key with what you're doing, resourcing wise, and something that I'm just gonna jump ahead on a topic. Sure. Resource being more available, the Glory Store being buffed up.
How good was this?
Oh yeah, absolutely amazing. As any player at different levels, but I think more, the more further you go, the more glory you gather. By the way, save your glory up. It will be kind of beneficial for you on the 22nd of March, is it?
22nd. So we got to get through this current. We're at the end of day 1 when you're listening to this, start of day 2. So we got to get through this whole cycle, the 3 days off, and then when AQ restarts on the 22nd, when AQ goes live, new Glory Store goes live.
It's just how kind of like a beneficial is it to you? For me personally, it's the tier 2 alpha situation.
I was going to say, this, we have to give Kabam some credit here because at the end of last year, the topic of the tier 2 alpha shortage became a real hot button issue, right? And you saw a few things done with login calendars to help people out in the short term. But now you're looking at a huge boost to the tier 2 alpha gain from the Glory Store, right? So that's just awesome. And also huge increases to tier 5 basic as well. So, my main concern right now is gold because people are going to be getting all these rank up resources.
Yep.
And how are they going to pay to rank up all these champions? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? We need to rank up champions. What's low? Tier 2 alpha. Here's some more tier 2 alpha. Well, we need more gold. Is an area you can go to get more gold? Disappointing, really, that we had the Black Oso mark, the Summoner Sigil with the specific quest. But I think it's 150,000 gold from that particular event.
I think it's 125 if
125,
you're Cavalier.
Right.
Yeah.
Then does it hit the mark? Is there more of an encouragement to do arena? Yes, no, maybe. It depends. If you are a person that has a lot more time in your hands and has more allocated time to do arena, then it's not going to be a problem. But for those that may be casual players, gold is a huge problem. So
it is, and for a player like me who was a big-time dungeon player, the dungeons being shortened last month and not being run this month, that's a big hit to my gold gain because that's part of my plan. There's some nice chunks of gold in the dungeons for not too much work, and you could get some other rewards as well. So yeah, that's definitely slowed me down a little bit, and I am worried about you have a pretty hard glory cap, right? 15K glory. You can't hoard glory. So you do have to spend it. You're going to want to spend it on the best stuff. So then your T5B and your T2A goes into overflow. So, and then if you don't have the gold to utilize those resources, then you're facing expiring endgame resources.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried that they have just solved one problem but created a new shortage somewhere else in the game economy. And I know that they're they've entered these new solo events, which are great, and I know there's gold in there, but it's not a lot. And there's RNG elements to that.
Because you're not just paying for the rank up, you're paying for the level up as well. And you're like thinking, right, well that's still 2 loads of things to consider. It's not a case of going, okay, you've got the resources, those catalysts and those catalysts of different types, and as well the basic, the could be the class, the basic, and the alpha, and it's a case of you going, okay, well I've got all that stuff. Oh right, I need hundreds of thousands of gold in order to rank up as a champion. So there's so much to that, rather than saying, okay, well like Kabam could do like a gold waiver week or a gold waiver 24-hour event, just to kind of go, okay, well once a year we'll do this where you're able for one day not spend any gold and it's a special event. But I don't think Kabam would ever kind of go for something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so, just because it would probably get abused, and they like to I think they like to do small but consistent increases with game economy instead of making a big one-time infusion of any resource. But I don't envy them, because this game is so complex, because there's so many different in-game currencies, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like your normal game where it's like, okay, like I've got like 2 or 3 currencies I need to balance and I spend them on everything.
Yeah, and even the seasonal currencies as well as like what have we had? We've had dark artifacts added in. We've had glory, 2 like obviously consistent ones, very in the last year to 2 years, and as well this stuff they create things. The Valor store, scrap.
I mean the acorns were pretty much currency.
Yeah, Infinity Dust as well.
Infinity Dust.
Gosh, it goes on and on with stuff. So like creating things. Randomizers are still about. No, randomizers aren't really currency, but we get the idea.
Yeah. The Kabam name for the person that runs the game economy.
Oh yeah, what?
They just got on the CCP server. It's actually Kabam numbers.
Which
is so perfect.
Yeah, I mean maybe they should be like Floyd Mayweather, when he's called Money for short. It could be something like Kabam Money or something like that.
Seriously, I think we got to get some questions over to Kabam numbers, because there's going to be a lot of balancing of the checkbooks in players' accounts right now. There is so much going on, and I think people get really frustrated when they can't use high-end resources because of gold, because gold doesn't feel like it's that important, and when it becomes that important, it just kind of feels bad.
Yeah, I do think that we should get Kabam numbers on the podcast, because I just think that would be a good thing to just get players understanding. Maybe people might have questions for that particular person.
I'm sure they would, and it's one of those things, like we look at our own accounts and we talk to our alliance mates, but they're extrapolating all this data over the whole game and different looking at players at different levels and how do they control the thing, and they seem to be very sensitive to the game economy. I think there's been a lot of talk of game economy lately, coming out of Dave's videos, right? Yeah. And of course, we as the players say, "Oh, we just want more. We want more," and because of course we do, because more is fun. And it's that line of, when are the player gripes legitimate, or when are we asking for stuff that is going to actually make the game less fun because we're going to overshoot?
Yeah. I
So,
think
yeah.
that's where it's kind of good to start our next topic, which is all about really Kabam have announced, but then with the hit of the current pandemic is
Yeah.
affecting things like incursions, and obviously Kabam as a developer. So if a lot of people out there might know, there are several people were invited for Incursions event at Kabam HQ in Vancouver, but has been pretty much cancelled from a showcase point of view. So to give people an idea, many people would go. They would probably do videos on what they've seen. They would either test it, go, oh yeah, this is good, this is going to be helpful for the game. We've been teased stuff with Dave's video about this being an amazing way to get gold, and it's more of a fun event. Whereas obviously Dan was saying he enjoys dungeons and it's a good source of gold. For me, it hasn't really been a thing. So getting something together that sorts out that gold issue, a gold problem, is going to be essential. So it's crazy with the pandemic, isn't it, Dan? I know obviously it's affecting your industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's, from the Kabam point of view, obviously, like, this was something new, right? Like, Dave's gone a few times, and it's great to see them bringing in content creators to visit Vancouver and interview people firsthand, but they've given people leaks before and exclusives, right? But they've never said, we're going to fly multiple content creators in to test out a new game mode and review it. Like, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's saying we're gonna invest in promotion and in the community, and those are signs of a healthy game, right? If you're spending more money on marketing, it means we're proud of it. We think we've got something good here, and we're gonna pay to showcase it. So we're gonna have to see. Does this mean that all those things go back to sort of the virtual world? Are incursions pushed back? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's certainly pushing back. It's certainly pushing back what looked like to be a really cool promo. And we've seen Kabam do more for the community between Comic-Con, between what was going to happen with incursions, with doing something like the Summoner Showdown, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you do a Summoner Showdown and bring everyone to New York in the current climate? Like, I would hate to think something like that gets scrapped because of what's going on. I mean, obviously there's much bigger, with the caveat of, like, hey guys, like, there's really, there's some serious stuff going on. People are getting very sick. There's communities that are really affected by coronavirus right now, but we're just talking about the game right now. So yeah, but I mean, that would be a major hit to one of their what was a huge promotional effort next year, and I think people do want to see it come back. If they can't do it, because let's face it, it's just not safe to get everyone on airplanes from different parts of the world and fly them into New York to play a video game right now.
Yeah.
That's just not smart.
It's crazy to think like whether or not Kabam will still go ahead with launching incursions, and at the same time how or if they will or will not do Summoner Showdown based on like the thing is, we don't know how long this pandemic will last for. But
no one knows. I mean, do you launch? We're seeing movies get pushed back. Do you launch Marvel Realm of Champions?
Absolutely. Is it worth doing?
On schedule? Is it? I mean, do you do that, or do you wait a few months and say, all right, we were going to go July 1st. Let's let everything calm down. Let's relaunch this at Comic-Con in October.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that positions the game in a stronger place. Like, there's a lot of companies that are going to make huge decisions on a lot of different types of entertainment and products recently, because it's a terrible time to get people together to do anything. The news cycle is being dominated, and we were talking about this off air. It's just, I think people have limited amount of time for entertainment because they're in grocery store lines that are lasting an hour or two to get to the register. Or they have to they have to take care of a sick family member, or they're being quarantined, or if you work in the medical field, you're probably pulling double and triple shifts. This is not normal right now. This is crazy.
Yeah, and that's the knock-on effect again. With Kabam as with producing Marvel Contest of Champions and keeping it maintained. If Kabam have a pandemic scare in the HQ in Vancouver, and to let a lot of people know, they work in an office with multiple companies. Because I met someone at New York Comic Con who worked above Kabam's office, so they occupy like X amount of a floor. And it's crazy because if somebody in that building, it just takes one person from one company to then affect the multitude of that particular, elevators, as a UK thing to say lifts. I tried saying that to a few people saying lifts, and they were talking about the car company. No, I mean elevators. If something happens in an elevator, someone touches like a button or something, and it starts spreading, key fobs, handles on doors, out of there, anything, facilities, toilet facilities. I'm not saying that it is point to go, the game could be really affected, but certain companies will have protocols for situations going, right, well, in the event of this happening, what's our pandemic or what's our policy on things like this? And it will be a case if they strip down the workflow. Yes, people can work from home, and that would be how they could do stuff, but there's significant running of the game which would need to be done at Kabam's HQ. So it's still, scary to think, what could happen to the game if anything were to happen in Vancouver, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and they're not that far from Seattle, which is one of the worst affected cities in the United States, and people travel between Seattle and Vancouver all the time. So, yeah, hopefully everyone's staying safe. Hopefully they're staying safe, and everyone's got contingency plans. But we're talking about, we're talking about stuff that a couple weeks ago seemed like, a movie script.
Yeah,
not reality, right?
I was thinking like 28 days later, or like some kind of like zombie-like film. But there are. And speaking,
a guy at work.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I had a guy at work. It was like, this is like a zombie movie, bro. And I was like, dude, at least if it was a zombie movie, we could grab some baseball bats and like take out our frustration on some zombies.
Yeah,
exactly. Like this is just like, I think everyone feels a little bit helpless because what we're being told to do is basically don't go anywhere and don't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that is talking of green. I think it's a good point to kind of like go to the next topic, and this is good news. Okay, so on St. Patrick's Day, we are going to be getting a Feeling Green event, which is going to give you the opportunity to get revives and what's else? I can't remember what else was being given out. Let
me check that real quick. I know revives was the thing that I really latched onto because who doesn't?
Oh, everyone loves it.
Who doesn't need more revives? And it feels like we never seem to have enough of those, right?
Yeah.
So there's like a solo event. You're gonna get champion boost too. A special 4-star green crystal in the Feeling Good solo event. It says use specific champions to earn points. So I'm wondering, what you Feeling Green? Like, do we have many green champions? We don't have too many Irish champions. Banshee and Siren aren't in the game. Those would be the ones that jump to mind. And then there's going to be an End of the Rainbow login calendar. Now, End of the Rainbow, what's at the end of the rainbow that we really like, Rich?
Good. So it is.
So maybe we will get a nice pot of gold. Maybe 500,000. I don't know anything, but I would like to see a nice pot of gold at the end of the rainbow login calendar.
Yeah,
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, so. that would be amazing. It's good that Kabam are doing something like this because they've not done it before.
I like doing things that incorporate different areas of the world, right? Like, I think we see a lot of excitement about Chinese New Year. And, Gabe's talked about this before, right? Like, so much of Marvel is, all the heroes are in Manhattan. everything becomes very, not even US centric, but it's like the island of Manhattan. And obviously we're in the battle realm. It's a little bit different, but it still can feel like very American centric. So I think it's great when you celebrate other holidays. We know that there's a lot of Australian players and a lot of players in India too. So I would love to see more of these events, because it also helps people just kind of learn about other players in other parts of the world. And it's, hey, who doesn't like an extra event with extra awards, right?
Yeah. Speaking of which, and something I'll be covering in Marvel Contest of Champions news tomorrow. So, and shout out to Deacon for sending this through to me.
Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon.
I love his radio voice.
Yeah.
I wish, I'm just so jealous of those, he just turns, those radio guys, they just turn it on. And I just don't have that sort of low voice, low voice where it's I can't even do it to it'd be a stupid parody of it. It's those guys who can just do that pro announcer voice and everything sounds epic. I wish I had that.
Yeah, I remember previous girlfriends used to say to me, "You sound like a was it like a Welsh, like a squeaky Welsh person?" And I just thought, right, thanks. I can't change my vocal cords unless you want to pay for an expensive operation to do so. I'll change my vocal cords with Barry White or something.
I know. And if you thought Lift was a hard reference for the non-English audience to get the Welsh thing, we have so many questions right now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to think how Welsh people sound like. Hello there, where are you from? I'm from the Valleys. My name is Rodri, and I like sheep and other things as well. That's what a Welsh person sounds like. So again, there's probably somebody, I don't know, in New Delhi just going I don't know what it's saying. What is Welsh? I don't know. Speaking of which, obviously, and to thank Deacon again, and obviously doing the little Indian accent, is to say that Gabriel Frizera, G Frizzle as I like to call him, has said on Twitter. I just can't say the second name particularly well, so just call him G Frizzle. Has said in response to MCOC Kalantak that Pavitra Prabhakar, a mystical powered Spider-Man, maybe saying that an Indian-based character might be closer than we think, and that's an exclusive. That's something that Deacon sent through just about an hour ago. So.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good to see.
That would be great. I know Gabe wants to internationalize the game more. That would be awesome. And like I said earlier, there's a huge Indian community that plays this game. And my thing with Marvel and superheroes in general is everybody should have a superhero.
Yep.
We all have our favorites for whatever reason, right? The whole point is you find someone that you feel connected to, that you feel that has pieces of yourself in. It's a part of the reason why Spider-Man's so popular is because so many people, when they were a kid, they see 16-year-old Peter Parker and he's nerdy and he doesn't know how to talk to people and he's shy, but then he puts on the costume and he's brave and he's so witty, right? That's why Spider-Man's so popular. But everyone should have a superhero, so I'm all for it. And I think if I may transition to the boss rush, I think that's why so many of the women of the community were so excited about the International Women's Day boss rush, right? Because that shined the spotlight on both the women heroes of Marvel and the great female content creators in the community. It was awesome.
Yeah, I know that when I spoke to Gabe at New York Comic-Con, he said to me that he wants to see more females playing the game. He'd love to see more YouTubers. I still can't convince M to be an MCC YouTuber.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty is with anybody, if you becoming a YouTuber and obviously putting yourself out there, is obviously putting yourself to be overly criticized. So if you come up with a guide or you think you've got a good workaround, there's going to be about 20 other people that'll be telling you you're wrong and there's a better one, and it's
Right.
or it's a case you're being bombarded with loads of suggestions and like play like this, play like that, or you can't play like this, or you're not playing well enough. And it's like, I know people would say, oh, you're overreading that, but it's kind of, there's just a lot of people that take away your enjoyment of the game if you're being told what to do rather than you free flowing and enjoying it from your own perspective.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, some of the female content creators get hit with that a lot more than we do.
Yeah, and that's the thing,
And it's tough.
It's got better, but it's not brilliant. Watching Katie Candy's stream was a good example of that. It's just like, look, just let her play. If she asks for advice, she'll ask for advice. But there was a case like, people do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of crap that they have to deal with. No one jumps on your stream and immediately starts spamming the chat asking if you're single.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like, guys, stop it. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, stop.
Like, just stop. Like, and don't I think the ones that I love to hate the most are just like, you suck at this game, but do you have a boyfriend? It's like, what are you doing?
It's
it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, it does.
So bad.
It does me as well. You're thinking with your boner, lads. Stop doing it. If you've just found puberty, make sure just keep it to yourself. Don't tell others.
Yeah, cool. All right. Yes.
With that, I'm moving on. We've done our parenting thing.
Right, our PSA for the week.
Exactly. When it comes to, because you did interviews with the participants in it.
Yeah, I was so excited to Dragon and Star and Katie were all kind enough to answer some questions about the boss rush. And first off, like I was saying, just the fact that Kabam was doing something special and involving them on International Women's Day, like that made a really big impact on them. I all felt that like they were genuinely excited that Kabam was taking the time to highlight the women of the contest. Mm-hmm. So first off, I think that's just awesome because it makes, like you said, it makes the contest more inclusive, and it's a good step towards getting more women playing the game. And I want as many people playing the game as possible.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. And the other part is, Katie, she hadn't done a boss rush before. Star and Dragon had done them before, but with their respective podcast co-hosts. So they got to fly solo, and they learned, I think, from the reactions of the last boss rush, which you were also involved in, right? With your King Groot.
I call that my fair fight.
Your fair fight, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of, I think with the boss rush, there's always some undercurrent of why is it so hard? Why are you trying to screw over the community? And it's just like, guys, that's not what's going on. Like, people are spending all this time making guides and helping the community. Like, they're not turning on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think everyone wanted a fun fight that there were answers to, that wasn't too champion specific. And they all did something in their fight to help you out.
Yeah.
Like, I even straight up asked Katie, because I think her Emma Frost is probably the hot button fight of this boss rush. And I asked her, why didn't you Corvus proof the fight? You could have made this fight harder if you took Corvus out of the equation by, some sort of debuff immunity, some sort of armor break immunity, right? And she's like, that's not what I was going for. I think it was difficult enough, and I didn't want to take an option off the table. And let's be honest. If you're having trouble with Emma Frost, you're having trouble because you can't evade a reverse control special one off Emma Frost.
Yeah.
That's an Emma Frost issue. That's not Katie saying I'm gonna stack a bunch of nodes on someone and make them ridiculous. Like that's a core mechanic of this champion that you're having a problem with at a high health pool level.
Yeah.
And this is your chance to practice it. You've got 2 weeks. There's a lot of guides. You don't use any resources. It's low energy. It's a few fights. Like, it's okay to practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found that there was certain champions that were really good. There were some that were a little kind of like I was indifferent about. I know Cat Marvel. A lot of persistent charge based champions would obviously excel. I used
Cat Marvel.
Yeah, Cat Marvel. That's the one that I used. I just found that was so effective. But the rogue fight, I think, was the one.
Oh, I love that fight so much. Because I like it because it's one of those fights that gets your heart rate going.
Yeah,
like it's not a sit back and watch videos while you're grinding arena. Like that is a fight that requires active engagement and strategy. I love the use of the invade node, so it's like at the start of the fight, like you need to be super aggressive, and then you have to back off and then be super aggressive again if the champion's still up. But that's one of those fights where you have to end quickly.
Yeah.
And I think there was an awesome pace to that fight that I really enjoyed a lot. And it's making Rogue, who's not a hard defender, a challenging fight. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So I guess the boss rush did like hit a good point with the community. I don't think it was. They didn't change the rewards. It was 10k 5-star shots like it was before. So that was good. And I think that when it comes to the next one, people learn when they do these ones. Like you may be next to do one, Dan. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully I would. Oh, I have an idea for if they. I would love to do one. I would absolutely do one. But if they let me do the fight that I want to do, I'm gonna get some hate mail.
Yeah.
I do love you guys. I do. But I've got the whole fight drawn up. It's actually inspired by a scene from. I'm not going to give away what it is.
Okay,
in case I do get to do it, but it is inspired directly from the comics. The design of this fight. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I love boss rushes so much. I think it's great that I just love the whole setup of it. I love that it's 6 fights, that it's quick, that it makes you think a little bit, that the community gets to contribute, and I think this has been the best received one so far.
Yeah.
So I would love to see more.
Absolutely. Thinking about this month and this season of Alliance Wars, I know because obviously last month we talked about burnout from Alliance Wars seasons. How are you feeling around season 16 so far?
Good, only because my alliance made a significant change in our goals and decided to switch to a 2 battle group per war setup.
That's good.
And so for some reason, dropping 1 war a week has dropped my stress level with Alliance War by like 95%.
Yeah.
Just having an off season and knowing I'm getting a break, knowing that we're pushing a cube war. We've added map 7 back in to start to make up for the reward loss from not pushing Alliance War as much, and it is personally for me has made all the difference. So
that's good.
I'm super happy right now with it. I mean, I don't think anything has changed with Alliance War to make it better. It's just my alliance just went away from it.
I think it's good as well because you would have some people that maybe want to do permanent content, and it allows freedom of movement, which I think is going to be quite important to.
Yes.
For people staying on and just like for me, I'm still kind of playing about with the idea of going alliance free for next season. So take the mid-season, grind out a lot more of Act 6, and then do the same thing when it comes to a full season away. It just, I think for me, would mean that because I'm very behind. Like other kind of like content creators are a lot further ahead, and it's just kind of going right. What I want to do is I want to prepare on lanes. I want to make sure I've got the right champions. I'm going, okay, like, you know, if I take champion A against paths A, B, and C, then I can just go, right, well, that champion is free for that. But as well, I need to take in champion B. But champion B, which usually would be in Alliance Wars or Alliance Quest, is now free to then smash out that in a 24-hour window. And it's just a case of going like, it's I don't know if you have this in US or a pick a mix. Do you have pick a mix?
No, what's that?
Pick a mix is like sweets where or kind of candy when you get like a load of candy to pick, and you get a bag and you take like little scoopings of every type of different candy and you put it into a bag.
Yeah, we have those.
Yeah, so it's essentially that you're taking different champions to go against different things in your kit bag, and like having them is something. I mean, we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but it's champion availability. To some people, right, it's like, oh, I'm fine, I've got the champions available, and that's cool. But then for like other people are like, well, I really would like to use my Doctor Doom today for something. Oh, right, he's in Alliance Wars, or he's in Alliance Quest. And even on off season, you're kind of going, look, guys, we can get some free shards if we do stuff. It's like takes the hassle out. So I do need to weigh up these decisions about it. I love my Alliance, and that's difficult part to kind of go, look, I would gain more from being with them than I would without. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's tough, especially when they just buffed AQ rewards.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, that does make it a little bit sweeter to stay and get that glory and rank up more champions, because that's the thing. Like, if you feel like your roster's ready to go and you're going to make a big push and 100% all of Act 6 over the next month, then you could say, okay, well, that's what I'm doing. But if you're still in the process of getting the roster ready, really hard to walk away from those rewards right now.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm playing about with. I might even kind of consider doing first 5 wars of, or I'll be on standby for the Alliance, but be Alliance free for a little while, or if not, start my own Alliance and grind out some minuscule amount of glory doing lower maps just by myself or something. But the whole kind of process of that is for me to just go, look, I just don't want to think about it. So kind of detracting myself from thinking about doing the grind. But, you know, I'll have to see. Anyway, I think we've covered all topics from this podcast on the fly, Dan.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on this week than I remembered until we started looking at the show notes. It's like, oh yeah, that happened and this happened, and wait, the boss rush only was a week ago, and you know, it's crazy. It's crazy times all around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going to be announced next week, and also because we did this podcast literally 30 minutes before we actually started recording, that just goes to show you. Like, you know, we can get prepared, but it's nice to do these podcasts with just me and you, Dan, because I think it's nice to kind of just talk about stuff without having to. Not that we like guests, we love guests.
Love guests,
but it's nice to kind of just what's the American expression? It's shooting. What's it called? Shooting a
just riffing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, just riff, and you know, just see where the conversation goes. It's just kind of stream of consciousness. So yeah, these are always a lot of fun for me to just, you know, see where you're at and just you know, just kind of see where things go. So yeah, I had a lot of fun, and it was great to, at least for a little bit, talk about the game and you know, not think about everything else that's going on in this crazy world right now. So we do, but we will be back next week with a guest. We're doing now, Rich, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes people are tweeting about like YouTube beef and people not getting along, and there is a shocking lack of podcast anti-beef. Yeah, because you know, like if you listen to Podcast of Champions, they have said very nice things about us. Star answered all my questions right away from my blog. We were talking about Deacon from MCOC. Yeah. They had me on and let us plug our first episode.
Yeah, that's kind. That's really kind.
It's like, it's the podcast community in Marvel Contest of Champions, very friendly towards each other. A distinct lack of drama, so much so that our guest next week will be Royal Marshall from the UMCOC podcast, and I'm super excited. Met Royal at Comic-Con last year, and it's going to be great. He's a really awesome champion expert, so maybe we'll be talking Terrax with him, state of the game, where he's at with Act 6, and I'm just very excited to have a little bit of a crossover episode with them.
Yeah, and we'll do equally to promote them as well. Absolutely.
Yep, we love those folks over there, and Podcast of Champions, UMCOC podcast, Contest Realm podcast. No beef here.
No, exactly. Right, Dan, what are you up to next week apart from just trying to avoid the rubbish in the world?
It's going to be a crazy week for me personally. For those of you who don't know, I work in the live entertainment industry, and in the area I work in the United States, we are not allowed to hold events for an unknown amount of time per government order. So we're in the process of rescheduling all of our shows. So I'm going to be doing that, and hopefully having some time to blog about MCOC, finish out some guides for Variant 3, and I have a post about how I would fix Alliance War that I want to get off my chest at some point.
Yeah.
That I've been meaning to finish. So hopefully I get to that, and then just a lot of general. There's a lot of general site updates I want to do. I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to get to them all, but other than that, yeah, just trying to navigate the new normal and hope everyone's staying safe. Rich, What are you up to?
Well, I've got a few things like St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to be doing a game-a-thon, and I'm probably going to be clearing 100%ing a lot of different things in Act 6.2. So that'll be probably
nice.
Yeah, I'll probably be doing that a lot on Tuesday from early morning UK right the way to the late evening, and probably be having some Guinness with me, a little bit of crude oil drink. As well, enjoying the day, as well as grinding out in the evening a bit of the old the green event that'll be coming into the game, so it is. And then I'll be, I think a lot of crystal openings, and I want to take Friday off just for, I think we're going to go to a little, because the thing is, we were going to travel on Friday to the UK meetup, which is not happening.
Right.
So I'm going to do a load of crystal openings and then go out and pet tiny pigs and baby goats. So... That
sounds very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And, that's going to relieve some stress between everything that's going on right now. I think we could all, use a little comfort right now.
Yeah, no, that's true. And you can have that with a micro pig at a farm in the UK.
Oh, they're the micro pigs.
I think they're micro pigs. I don't think they're proper big pigs. I think they're kind of like this farm has. They even do pig races. So, do you have that in the US? Pig races?
We do. We have a local county fair, and do you know what they use to inspire the pigs to race? Oreo cookies.
Oh wow!
That's what gets the little piggies to move their butts and to race frantically to the finish line.
That sounds adorable.
Oh yes.
And on that note,
it is.
And on that note, because we started off in a very kind of pandemic matter, that's a beautiful way to end. Little piggies. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening to the podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud, all the major ones. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.